Hey, Steady Steve, please like and subscribe. This is not about gaming. This is about sports trading, basically. So this is my tips on tennis. I know a lot about tennis, and I know a lot about cricket. I say I did give a recommendation of football. I don't touch football usually. It's to win, lose, draw. I prefer kind of win, lose, and I prefer kind of this platform, the Betfair platform, just because you can get out at relatively lower cost. If things go in the wrong direction, of course, there are no guarantees. For example, Francis Tiafoe was just, I'm pretty sure he was serving to win this first set just not too long ago. Just before I was doing this video, I was doing a little bit of prep, and all of a sudden it's 5-all. But I do want to talk through my opinion of the relative strengths of these players, and what I look for is kind of consistency, power, precision, unforced errors, things like that. Um, Francis Tiafoe should be winning. Looking at the top row now, Francis Tiafoe should be winning that game. I think he's more suited to a fast surface, but he's got. I don't know if you ever watched Tim Henman back. Well, Tim Henman, yeah, but also Andy Murray. The effect of those two British players, where they kind of put you on that roller coaster, where they can be amazing and precise and devastating and clinical, but then throw a game away. You know what I mean? With back to back unforced errors. TFO is along those lines. Along those lines. That's why he's just unreliable. It's very kind of risky to see now he's kind of up to potentially break back again. Is he? I was looking at the price. I'd have to log in for the price to be accurately updated, but yeah, it's just not reliable enough most of the time. Sadly, in my point of view, TFO and Rinky Hinjikata is one of those players. He's got a good ground game, uh, weakish or kind of weak to average kind of serving game, which means he'll never really gonna go deep into any kind of tournament. But you know he can live with the ground strokes. He's very quick, but doesn't have that devastating power. But he does have that quickness. In other words, you don't touch that first game. Holger Rune, a young man, a big prospect of Denmark going forwards, should be doing better than what he is. Similar to TFO in some ways, that just doesn't have that reliability. He's just going to lose to players that he shouldn't lose to, and there's just something missing. Jordan Thompson, a lower ranked player. I don't know. Holger Rune, I didn't check his ranking. It's going to be top 20, something like that, maybe even top 10. Jordan Thompson, I'm not sure, top 20, 30, maybe, something like that. Should be losing to Rune, but as I just said, you can catch Rune on a day, and you never know what's going to happen. You have to look at, you don't touch players like that. You don't touch, there's too much uncertainty as there is in order to go down that route. I just wouldn't get involved in that game. Milos Raonic, I did watch him yesterday. Oh my gosh, who did he lose to? I think it's an Australian. What's he called? He would have come to me, hopefully. But he lost in honour. You know what I mean? In a very honourable way. It's the same problems with a big server, in that if they don't win that point outright or dominate off that first serve, then they're going to be under pressure in that second serve, because, you know, they can't be as aggressive. They're just trying to get it in. And from there, they get caught into a ground game, and that's when you're playing into the strengths on the other side of the court. Cameron Norrie, you'd have to be honest. It's just a toying cost, that match. It's like, does Milos Raonic get enough serves in order to dominate on serve? And he doesn't have a bad ground game, but I say not enough to be reliable. I think he's going to go for those fast wins and aggressive strokes, and I've seen worse. But you know what I mean. There's obviously better out there as well. Cameron Norrie, not really outstanding in terms of power on serve at all, or ground strokes. You kind of like got that dogged reliability, and if that breaks down, then Cameron Norrie is going to just bow out. This is too much of an unknown in that one. It could go either way. It's probably going to go 3 sets, and third set's a coin toss. Tabilo and Fokina. I did have a quick look about how often Tabilo's played on grass. Answer is not a lot. Davidovic. Fokina has played a lot more on grass over like the last 4 or 5 years, but he's just not that successful, basically. But either way, that puts them both in the kind of middle, and it's just way too grey. Fokina probably will win. Would I put any money in it? No. Let's go on to Haller. I don't know enough about Ofner or Zhang or Mazozan against Saifulin. Don't get me wrong, especially in that latter match. I think they're more kind of like challenger level players. I might not be right, but they're just not going to be at the top end where they've got that performance which gives reliability. So you just kind of overlook that. Should be a mismatch, Medvedev versus Borges, but at that price, 1.15 to get a decent return. And so if you're just playing and looking to accumulate, you know what I mean, you put £20 on that, and hopefully you turn that into, my maths is really bad, £23. Then I guess that's how you can accumulate. And then the next, hopefully equally reliable, hopefully brackets reliable selection, you put in £23 on it, and if that's at the same price, then instead of making £3, you make more than £3 because obviously you're not going from £20, you're putting on £23. So yeah, and that's how you can accumulate from a small base into something which is larger. And of course, on their worst day, you still stand to lose it all, but at least, as I said with Betfair, then you can trade out. You know what I mean? Is that at what point you would decide to trade out? When things you can see going wrong. Number one, you have to be there to watch the match, see what's going on, get out. And I'm not even saying you trade out using the Betfair app unless you've got no other option. There are other apps out there which would do a fair trade out. Apparently, the Betfair exchange will offer you a trade out kind of function based on the money that's available, but that could, and I've seen it so many times, you could be winning and the trade out will put you in a loss, or your loss could be very little, but what it offers you is a massive loss. And there are tools out there, subscription tools, if you're just kind of into it, where you will always get the best trade. I'll mention that on a different video, but yeah, that's just something to consider. Basically, what I'm saying is, though, you can start off with something really small. It doesn't have to be £20. It could be £10. It could be £5. Whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with, and potentially, if those high favourites do keep on winning, that small amount can become a big amount. And even if you're lost and you lose small, that's when it's just all about the fun in the game. There you go. What else? Herbert Hurkacz versus Koboiling. I think grass is suited to Hurkacz. I don't know enough about Flavio, basically, so I ain't going to talk too much on this. Hurkacz, Polish, strong serve, very strong serve, and not too bad on ground strokes as well. But I just feel like his game is just a little bit too fickle. And it's that kind of mental aspect of any game as well, where you just want them to be solid in all circumstances. You know what I mean? And not just fall to the wayside if they miss a few shots, or, they're not searching for confidence. You know what I mean? And they should really have done all that the talent should be the minimum for that anyway. And the rest they should be doing on the practice courts to get that reliability. Hurkacz is world level. Don't get me wrong. But there's just a flaw there. Just a flaw. Which, on his bad day, he can just fall below expectations and just doesn't give confidence. All that to say this, 1.17, I'm not really sure that's what we want to be touching. I'm a big fan of the women's tennis game. I think it's a lot, there's similar to what I'm talking about, Hurkacz. I think it's there's too much of the unreliability, which makes it uncomfortable, unless we're talking about the very top of the game. The very, very top of the game, like top 1 or 2, and everybody else, really, I think they have their good days or shocking days, and that has to be something that you're comfortable kind of living with. I'm not at all, in fact. Yeah, none of those selections interest me. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. To summarize it all, the only selection I would recommend is Medvedev. and not going crazy, obviously. I hope you found that useful. If you do, please like, subscribe, and best of luck. And don't blame me if it's wrong. It's all fun. I'm not guaranteed a result. Just giving an opinion, and hopefully you can find that useful. Actually, before we go though, regarding Medvedev, I'm going to go to that app I mentioned before. If you saw my other video, which kind of gave you a view, OLBG. I definitely recommend this. And there's another site to look for, like current form. Anyway, go to tips by sport. Obviously, it's going to be tennis. I was going to go on you, Medvedev. I think you were winning last time I saw. Hopefully, you won. Medvedev has only 4 tips. Medvedev beat Nuno Borges in the only past meeting on a hard court. He's also a better player on grass. Around 43 places higher. Medvedev is world number 5, very good on fast surface. He can win today with Nuno. He's lost in his last 4 matches on grass. Medvedev should win comfortably. And Borges has not won a match on the grass court. With ATP 5 playing against ATP 48, that's going to be the rankings. Daniil has to be the favourite. The other thing about Medvedev is he's just a very reliable. Of course, he will lose from time to time, and he's another one who will get kind of frustrated with himself, and you can see him just kind of his mentality just kind of declining a little bit. But it's not to the level of others that I've mentioned. It's still like what was said world's number 5 in my point of view. Yeah, minimum 5 in my mind. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was like world number 2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah, very confident he's going to win this one. Hopefully he does. Best of luck, Daddy Steve, and I'm out.